Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Memoir of my banking journey by Mr. V.H. Ramakrishnan, retired General Manager of Bank of India. Episode number 12. The chapter 2611 and I is completed and now new chapter Delhi Chalo and my experiments and experiences as a zonal manager. The link of earlier episode is available in the description below. Experiment number 3. Fix your own target. It was the last week of January 93. Mr. P.K. Chawla, Chief Manager of Karol Bagh branch, called on me. Mr. Chawla was one of the best officers of the bank, a matured person with an excellent banking knowledge. He was not a yes man. He would not put forth his arguments with respect. Later on, he had to resign from the bank due to family reasons. He had to take over the family business after his father's sudden demise. Even though I tried my best to persuade him to continue, I failed in my attempt. I felt very sad that the bank was losing a very good officer. If he had continued, he would have definitely reached the top position in the bank. Chawla had come to see me to inform me that he had crossed the deposit target. If he had stopped with that statement, I would not have had an opportunity to do my next experiment. He added that he could get another deposit of rupees 2 crores, which he would get in April. I asked him why not immediately. He said he could do that, but then the zonal office would fix a higher target for him for 1993-94. Without even thinking, I gave him a spontaneous offer. I told him that if he crossed the target, he would have the freedom to fix his own target for the ensuing year. He gave a disbelieving smile. I told him I was serious. I expanded my idea. I said since he was an achiever, I had full confidence in his wisdom and would accept whatever figure he would propose. If he says the growth would be zero, I would accept it without any argument. I said that the branch manager, who was an achiever, knows his area and scope and he would be the best judge. As was my practice, I made an open announcement that those all who reached the target for 92-93 would be given the freedom for fixing their own targets for the new next year. Zonal office would not alter the target. I only requested them to take into account the accrued interest on double benefit deposits that would remain with the bank. You would be surprised to know that these managers proposed targets that were higher than what the zonal office would have fixed. They felt the responsibility and reacted positively. I realized one thing. Whenever the CEO fixes the target, the managers would feel it was something that was forced down their throat. Now, since they themselves fixed their targets, they owned up the responsibility of achieving it. As I visualized, they all crossed their own targets. The success of the above experiment gave me the confidence to expand the scope further. There are two types of planning, umbrella type and pyramid type. In the former, the head office fixes the target, and in the latter, the branches indicate their budgets and it is aggregated and head office arrives at the figure for the bank. At one time, the branches used to submit the budget figures to the zonal office and the consolidated figures would be sent to head office. That would form the basis of fixing the targets. However, in practice, what happened was different. Based on the monetary policy of the Reserve Bank of India, the bank would fix the growth rate of deposits and advances. Then they would apply these rates to the closing figures of the zones. Then the zonal office would slightly increase these rates to have a cushion and do an arithmetical application on the previous year's figures of branches. This was arithmetic and not planning. I wanted to change this procedure. So emboldened with the experience of with overachievers, I applied the same principle to all the branches in the next year. I told all the managers to come with their own figures for deposits projection. For achievers, no alteration. For others, we said we would do some minor adjustments after getting the total figures of the zone. The response was overwhelming. There was no need to touch any of the projections. We also did one more experiment. I told the industrial finance branch that I would not give them any deposit targets. Their business was lending and not canvassing deposits. They should only focus on lending. Well, no one would stop them from getting deposits related to lending, but no pressure on them to mobilize deposits. We also decided that we should take into account the niche market of the branch before fixing the targets. For instance, branches like Janakpuri and Vikaspuri were pure deposit oriented branches as they were located in residential areas. I decided we would not give them any credit budgets except for deposit related advances and personal loans. They should be relieved from the burden of locating borrowers. Enough if they cater to the walk in borrowers. I thought if you force them to lend, they would go out of their operational area and ultimately would land themselves in difficulties. In the case of Khan Market branch, we told the manager that he would not have any targets as his entire time would be consumed in taking care of VVIPs. However, for the sake of good order, we fixed some nominal targets. I shall write about Khan Market branch later. This approach started yielding good results. To what extent I will reserve it to be written at the end of the story. Later on, when I was general manager in charge of planning, I tried the same method. Earlier, the ZMs used to meet the general managers in small groups, and the exercise used to take the whole day. I decided not to give any pep talk, just noted the projections and compare with our own figures. We finished the exercise in 2 hours, and the ZMs had projected numbers higher than what we had expected. In this exercise, other GMs in charge of credit and priority sectors also cooperated. Experiment number 4. Mr. P.K. Chawla made a remark in a zonal committee meeting that there were numerous returns to be submitted by a branch which took all their time and that we should write to HO to reduce the number of returns. I told him why we should wait for HO to do this. It might never happen. Besides, let us not assume that all the wisdom lies only with head office. Why can't we ourselves study the returns and make specific suggestions to HO to reduce the number of returns? Mr. Chawla agreed, and I formed a committee with Chawla as the chairman and three bright officers as members. This committee met on Saturday afternoons and after a month submitted an excellent report. They suggested first, elimination of certain outdated returns, second, elimination of some superfluous returns, information available elsewhere, third, consolidation of a few returns, fourth, cutting down the frequency of some returns. I was quite happy with the report. I wrote a dear letter to the chairman, Mr. Dahotre, enclosing the report. To my surprise, I got a call from Mr. Dahotre within 3 days. He was full of appreciation for the report. He told me that at HO there would be a resistance to make changes, and the report, if sent to the departments in the normal course, it may not see the daylight. He suggested that I should depute the officer who authored the report to head office for a short period. I agreed and relieved Mr. P.K. Chawla. He went to the head office and spent a month. As expected, there was a strong resistance to make any changes. However, he could succeed in getting about 25% of the recommendations accepted. In my opinion, it was a very good achievement. In the process, Mr. Chawla got good recognition at head office and later on was transferred to the head office. Tailpiece. When Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister, the cigars which he used were specially made and sent from Dindigul, a town in Tamil Nadu. The government told the collector to send a periodic statement to the Secretariat in Chennai about how many cigars were sent to London during that period. If there was no dispatch, a nil statement was also required. Can you guess when this was discontinued? Please scroll down. Lessons I had learned. First, never force a target on your manager. Let him fix and own it up. You can be sure he would fix a target higher than what you would have proposed. There may be a few exceptions, but that would not change the overall picture. Second, trust your managers. Once they know you have confidence in them, they would perform without using a stick. Third, do not think every change should be done by only the head office. You and your staff are as intelligent as those in head office. You can initiate changes and make the job of head office easier. Answer to the tailpiece. In 1984, someone in Tamil Nadu Secretariat realized that Churchill had died years back and asked the district to stop sending the statement. I'd read this in an English daily from Chennai. Mr. Venugopalan moves out. My happiness that Venugopalan would be there with me for some time was short-lived. He got his promotion as assistant general manager and was posted to head Mumbai overseas branch. I was happy that he got his well-deserved promotion, but was sad in losing such a capable executive. Little did I imagine that he would be taking over from me at the end of my tenure. Now I had to look for a replacement. The choice was difficult. Finally, I decided to post Mr. B. N. Saigal, who was chief manager of one of the branches, as DY zonal manager. Saigal was known to me very well. He was in Nairobi and was on the verge of completing his term there when I landed. He was a chartered accountant. He did a good job in Kenya as in charge of Chief Executive Secretariat and was looking after all the papers and proposals coming from Mombasa branch. We were of the same seniority then. He was a close friend. He had given me a lot of encouragement during my early days in Nairobi. Somehow, after his return, he missed out his promotions and was a very senior chief manager. A happy go lucky man, the only subject he would talk about rather than banking was cricket. My only problem was that he had started addressing me as sir. I felt embarrassed. I told him that he can call me Ramakrishnan just like in Nairobi. But he refused. Then we agreed that after office hours he should not call me as sir. But he never followed the agreement. Over a period of time, I got used to him addressing me as sir. When he missed his promotion again, he decided to call it quits but got a job in bank in Nairobi and lived happily there for many years until his retirement. I met him in Nairobi when I visited that place in 2001. I am told he's in Ahmedabad, but I lost touch with him. Dramatic arrival of Mr. P.S. Shinoy. I had mentioned that when I landed in Delhi, N.S. Nayak, joint zonal manager AGM, had already left for Mumbai. The post was lying vacant. On one Saturday, late in the evening, the chairman, Mr. Dahotre, phoned and told me that there was a tremendous pressure political on him to post a particular officer in GCM Delhi. He did not want to do that, so the only way was to ensure that the vacancy was immediately filled up. He asked me, whom do I want as JCM? I told him without any hesitation that I would like to have Mr. P.A. Shinoy as my JCM. Shinoy was the regional manager of Baroda and had been promoted then as AGM. I had mentioned in these columns that I had met Shinoy in Kunur as early in as 1968. Thereafter, I had met him in New York. Mr. Dahotre readily agreed and told me to inform Mr. Shinoy that he should report to Delhi on Monday morning. When I tried to contact him in Baroda, I was told that he had left for Ahmedabad and was on his way to Hyderabad for attending a training program at Administrative College of India. When I contacted the zonal manager at Ahmedabad on Sunday morning, he checked and told me that Shinoy was already at the airport to catch a flight to Mumbai from where he would be taking a connected flight to Hyderabad. I told the zonal manager to contact him at the airport and to inform him to call me urgently. Accordingly, a public announcement was made at the airport. Shinai got the message but was not able to call me as the boarding had commenced. Readers should remember that there were no mobiles in those days. Later in the day, I got a call from Shinoy. He spoke from Mumbai airport. I informed him about the chairman's instructions and told him to cancel the ticket to Hyderabad and book a flight to Delhi. He agreed to do so without a murmur. I knew how disappointing it would have been for him to miss the training program at the prestigious administrative staff college. On Monday, Shinoy took a morning flight and came straight to the zonal office in a crumpled shirt and trousers. What a devotion to duty. He was in Delhi with me for over 2 years and moved out when he got his elevation as DY General Manager. I had a wonderful time with him. He ultimately became the chairman of Bank of Baroda. More about him later. Experiment number 5. Incognito visits. I had an initial advantage. Except for a few officers, none knew me. I had heard about R.P. Vaidya visit visiting branches incognito, then he was posted as zonal manager. Those days, regional manager of Gujarat. I decided to do the same. It revealed a lot of information. I would not inform anyone where I would be going. I would tell the driver in the morning the name of the branch. Even Bala did not. I would only tell him the previous day that I would be going to a branch and would come late. I would enter the branch and start near the counter waiting for someone to inquire, may I help you? In almost all the branches I visited, even there was no other customer, none of the counter clerks raised their heads and asked me whether I need anything. Rajendra Nagar branch was the only exception. One smart officer asked me, can I help you? Then I revealed my identity. Later on, I inquired as to why this attitude of recognizing the presence of a customer. I was told that if they asked that they would be inviting some work. So why bother? Another thing I noticed in all the branches was that the managers were sitting inside the cabin. One manager was reading Economic Times when I entered his cabin and introduced myself. He asked me, sir, since you were in Bank of India Finance, which share would you recommend for me to buy? A few branches in Delhi had two wings. One such branch was Panchsheel Marg branch. It was in two adjacent buildings inside a complex. One was for operations and the other one was for loans and and administration. The manager used to have his or her cabin in the latter. This branch was headed by a lady who was a socialite and her husband was a top man in a foreign airlines. She was reported to be a very good officer. I entered the operations wing first, made the manager deposits. I inquired about the manager. She said that the manager sat in the other building. I went to the other building. I was received very well and good hospitality was extended. I asked the manager how often she goes to the other wing. What I actually meant was how many times during the day. She replied once in 2 or 3 months. I was shocked. I told her that she should at least go once a day. She said her deputy is quite capable of taking care of customers. My mind went back to Chennai, where I had seen Mr. K. Meenakshi Sundaram, fondly called KMS, manager of Purasavalkam branch, standing and moving in the banking hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. He would never sit in his cabin. He would talk to the customers, their clerks, messengers, and ensure that things were attended fast. This was the practice he followed in all his branches. He would attend to paper work only in the afternoons. He felt customer is of paramount importance and is it was the duty of the manager to see that the best service was rendered. KMS was my senior in college and we used to actively participate in Tamil debates. He was a powerful orator in Tamil. He passed away a few years back. Another person with similar traits was Mr. R.S. Reddy. I was told that when he was the manager of Malleswaram branch, Bangalore, he used to be on the ground floor behind the customers' counters during banking hours. His cabin was on the first floor. As many of you know, he retired as CMD of Andhra Bank. Bank to Delhi. In another branch, I found that the cashier was not in the counter even at 10:30. Working hours were from 10 a.m. Without revealing my identity, I asked the counter clerk, "Where is the cashier?" He answered casually, "Abhi aa jayegi, aap wait kijiye." Then another customer told me that the cashier never came on time. As you know, we Indians have patience. We accept all these as part of life. I went to the manager, revealed my identity. He also confirmed that the cashier was a latecomer. I told him to tell the concerned cashier to call on me the next day and left the branch. Next day, the cashier called on me. She did not come alone. She came with her husband and who was working in the State Bank of India. I asked him where was the need for him to come and when I had called my staff. He mumbled something. Anyway, I called my security officer to come in and stay in the room as I wanted to have a witness in case some harassment charges were levied. I am not going into what I advised her. I am narrating this to show the attitudes adopted by persons. Tailpiece, I found a practice in Delhi to unofficially allow the lady employees other than officers to go home any time after 4 p.m. Those days there was no metro and staff were commuting by bus and wanted to reach home and to take care of their kids who would be back from school. In fact, when I visited a branch at 4:30 p.m., I found that there were only few staff present. The manager was one Mr. Bansal. I asked him how he had permitted them to go early. He asked me, "Sir, do you find anything pending in my branch?" I said, "No, your branch is doing very well." Then he said, "Please allow me to run the branch in my own way." Then he explained the difficulties faced by the ladies and said they do not avail any lunch hour and also do not waste time during banking hours by chit chatting. I told him that I did not want him to do micromanagement and he was free to manage his branch and staff in his own way. I was a member of the local committee for Indian Institute of Bankers. The local chief general manager of State Bank of India was the chairman. In the first meeting, while chit chatting, I told him that the ladies in my bank are leaving any time after 4 p.m. He said, "You are lucky. In my bank, they're leaving at 2:30. Lessons learned. First, surprise visits always pay dividends. You are able to judge the involvement of the managers and staff in dealing with customers. One can also identify smart stuff. Second, do not try macromanage a bank. Third, whatever is the reason, the counter clerks should work on time. No relaxation there. A request, when I am not mentioning the name of a person, it is with a purpose. Those who work with me in Delhi can easily identify the person. Please keep it to yourself and do not make it public. If I forget a name, I will specifically ask you. Experiment number 6. I cannot call this strictly an experiment. I cannot most say it was an accidental experiment. During my early days in Delhi, I visited Greater Kailash branch. The manager was Mr. Babu Venkatachalam, whom I had met in New York during my visit from Lagos. Good in public relations. He retired as DY General Manager, Information Technology Department. I learned that he is working with a private company in the IT sector, but I have lost contact with him. The branch was in a posh residential locality and had large deposits. During my visit, I learned that Babu had just then taken charge. While customer service was excellent, housekeeping was in bad shape. Readers should remember that there was no core banking in those days. Many books were not balanced for long periods. I was not happy with the situation. Instead of scolding the staff, I decided to try a new simple strategy. I called the staff and told them that today we are in the first week of the month. If you balance the books by the end of this month, before the end of this month, I will take the entire branch for a lunch or dinner. I was not sure how it would work out, but to my surprise, on 25th, Babu phoned me to say that all the books have been balanced. He said that the staff took it as a challenge and worked day and night and during holidays to finish the job. Now it was not for a lunch or dinner, which all of them could afford, but they felt it as an honor to have lunch with the zonal manager. I honored my commitment. The week after they balanced the books, I told Babu to fix a lunch or dinner. Babu, in consultation with the staff, preferred a lunch on Sunday. The entire staff turned up and we had a good time. Experiment number 7. Lunch pe charcha or beyond balance sheets. I was lucky in my earlier days in the bank to directly work under Mr. D.N. Shukla when he was the regional manager in Chennai in 1970. He taught us that the person is more important than the project. A good person can be ruined by a person if he is not capable. Mr. Shukla not only knew many customers but would give full details of the family background, connections, family disputes, etc. Even after his retirement, I had seen some executives consulting him about customers in Mumbai. So my early association with him changed my approach to credit. I also started going into the background of the promoters. When I landed in Delhi, I found that we had many big customers, mainly with industrial finance branch, overseas branch, etc. We all know that too much weightage should not be given to the balance sheets. We should find out where the money is made in that particular industry. It may sound a bit unorthodox. For example, in a small engineering firm, the owner earns his income from the scraps. He may not be accounting them fully. In Nairobi, I asked a bread manufacturer where his profit was coming from. He said water. He explained that with more water, the weight increases and the bread is also fluffy and attractive. Like this, a commercial lending banker should also should know the trick of the business of the borrower. You cannot get such information while discussing in your room. Thanks to my predecessors, we had a corporate membership at International Center. It had an elite membership, besides an excellent library and lecture halls where you could listen to an international standard auditorium where cultural events were held very often, lecture halls where you could listen to eminent speakers. It had an excellent cafeteria and restaurant. The food offered was of very high quality and very reasonably priced, much cheaper than five-star hotels, and was a better ambience and excellent service. I decided to make full use of this facility. Thanks to head office, I had a good allocation of entertainment budget. I decided that every Wednesday I would invite on one top customer of the brand of the bank for lunch. On a few occasions, I had also requested the manager to join. The customers were very happy. They had rarely received such personal invitation from the zonal manager. They During lunch they opened out and I could understand them and their business. Later on, I noticed that the foreign banks were the first to notice the danger signals and would quietly withdraw from the consortium. Indian banks would immediately take up their portion. The foreign bankers were always in dinners and lunches and were able to gather the market information, whereas Indian bankers were more into paperwork and felt socializing may be mistaken by the bosses. I feel for a successful banker, socializing is a must. Experiment number 8. Zonal Managers Club. I had heard about the LIC Chairman's Club. It used to consist of the agents who mobilize huge premiums. I thought I would also try this concept. We formed a zonal managers club for the staff who mobilize deposits beyond a particular amount. It was mainly intended to encourage officers, special assistants, clerks, and substaff. We laid down some norms for becoming a member. First, should have personally canvassed and secured deposits during the previous year above a particular amount. Second, should not be a branch manager. Third, there would be a team meeting with the zonal manager every half year. Fourth, a member can contact the zonal manager directly at any time during the day or night. He or she can talk to the ZM both at the office or at home. Fifth, he or she can come and meet the ZM without any appointment. We could get quite a few members in the club. This went on for about 2 to 3 years. Thereafter, we could not get enough members. One member I remember very well was Mr. K.K. Mittal. He was a clerk at the overseas branch at that time. He could mobilize deposits running into crores due to his personal contacts. He had the guts to walk into many PSUs and establish contacts. He had a good knowledge of foreign exchange and could articulate well. During my tenure, he got promoted as an officer and was transferred to Madhya Pradesh. He continued to keep in touch with me. He prevented a traveler's check fraud in his branch. Later on, when I was in head office, Mr. R.V. Joshi, who was the managing director of Securities Trading Corporation of India, contacted me and wanted to know whether I could recommend someone for heading their New Delhi office, which was to be opened shortly. Without any hesitation, I recommended the name of Mr. Mittal. He was interviewed and selected. Initially, Mittal had some hesitation in going on deputation, but I strongly advised him to join. He listened to me and fitted into the job like a fish into the water. After a few years, he opted to quit Bank of India and join STCI and retired as a DY general manager. Even now, I get from him a greeting every morning and a summary of international market. Lessons learned. First, if a branch is not doing well in a particular aspect, do not try to use strong words. Try to motivate them in a different way. Second, try to learn more about the business of the customer in formal conversations. Tailpiece, a prestigious branch in Delhi, was located in two wings located at the ends of a row of shops. At one end, the manager was sitting with operational staff taking care of the customers. At the other end, the wing had two floors. The ground floor was occupied by administration department and the first floor by the credit department. I am reproducing below the correspondence exchanged between the DY manager credit and DY manager administration. It may not be accurate but would bring out the essence. DM credit, the mosquito problem is acute in the first floor. You have to do something urgently. DM admin, there are no mosquitoes in the ground floor. How can they be in the first floor? DM credit, we are the ones suffering. Please provide us with two pedestal fans that the mosquitoes would not disturb us. DM admin, we did a fumigation only 3 months back. It is too early to do another one. We regret we cannot provide any fans now. Name credit. It is impossible to work in these conditions. You have to take action urgently. Dear admin, we are willing to shift to the first floor. Your department can come down to the ground floor. Luckily, at this stage, the matter went to the notice of the chief manager and he sorted out the issue. I used to quote this in my conferences to show how bureaucratic we had become. The chapter Delhi Chalo, my experiments or experiences as a zonal manager is continuing. Thank you very much for your patience. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.